Team, one of my favorite cuts of beef is none other than the flank steak. And I want to share with you why this is such a champion cut for me. Without further ado, let's get into the action. Super thin, lots of surface area, plenty of ability to blast sear this baby. Great exercise to get our grill up to 600 Fahrenheit. Finally, what we've been waiting for. Oh, look how thin that is, right? So we need bark, we need caramelization, and we want to keep it medium rare to medium, depending on the marbling. The more marbling, the more towards medium you're gonna go. I picked this up at our local grocery store here, and it looks pretty lean, I'll be honest with you. So I'm gonna blast sear this baby to medium rare, but before I do that, I'm going to scruff the steak. So a couple of really fun things. We're gonna scruff to, let's just do it. Here I go again. We're just gonna take our knife and draw slight lines or score the top of this beautiful flank steak. That is gonna increase the surface area and give us twice as much surface area, nooks and crannies to create caramelization. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So we've got scruffing working for us. We've got a 600-degree flame working for us. I also want to put seasoning on our side. We're going to choose today a Cattleman's California tri-tip, which is heavy on the salt. So we're doing a layering system. We're going to go heavy on this salt. And these are really big granules. I love this. Chef Tom at ATBBQ turned me onto this stuff. Let's get the other side. Second layer, Lane's Barbecue Sweet Heat. So we've got a little spice and we've got a little sweet. That sweet in there is gonna help us get a beautiful bark. It's gonna caramelize. Lovely. Now that we've got it nice and seasoned, we'll go on with a little bit of oil just to promote even cooking. That'll tack up nice. And with that, we're ready for the grill. Let's take a look at our setup today. We're using the Kettle Joe. And like I said, we're stabilized at 600. I've lowered the grill grates really close to the flame here. And I've got that nice seasoned up steak. I'm gonna put it right over the charcoal. Really listen to what's going on here. That hiss tells me that we're nice and hot. We're caramelizing, and it's absolutely building big, bold flavors. Let's take a sneak peek. It's about 1.5 to 2 minutes in the cook, and there's that caramelization. I'm gonna leave it on there for a little longer. Look how I've got all these, oh, getting hot. Got these striations that opened up from the scruffing, but I don't have anything filling them yet. So I wanna get a new spot on the grill. The reason I'm getting that new spot is this spot we just left is the coldest spot on the grill right now. I've already sucked up all the energy from right here. So if I can just get it onto a new spot, I'm gonna have new energy, new heat, better caramelization. Time to flip. Let's take a sneak peek, but it's time to flip. I know it is. Oh yeah, there we are. You know, it's fast, but there's a lot of opportunity here to interact with the flame and interact with the grill in a really fun way. Yet another reason flank steak is one of my favorites. I want you to think about when you're roasting something and you're basting, right? With basting brush, all that. We're gonna introduce you to dry basting. So let's go on with that caramelized building sweet heat and hit the top of this steak. And we're dry basting at this point, okay? You'll lock that in by dropping the dome down and letting that entire steak pick up some of the drippings that are caramelizing. Now we're smoking this steak with its own drippings, dry basting, scruffed, and it's making its own sauce. I'll show you in a minute. Oh yeah. Let's take a sneak peek. Oh yeah. We're there. But something this thin, something this small is not a 25-minute rest, right? We'll give this about 7 minutes. Okay, we talk about cutting across the grain. This steak just tells us exactly, I mean, it's hard to see because I scored it, but this steak tells us like a roadmap exactly where those grains are, just runs. So I slice once with the grain. I know we always talk about going against, but I'm gonna slice once with the grain, just so I'm not having to cut across this whole piece. It's gonna be much easier for me to get the exact thickness I want if I'm only cutting here because there's so much friction between the knife and the meat. So this is easier. And watch, that's a perfect medium rare. As it begins to interact with the oxygen, it's gonna bloom out or rouge out, and it's gonna be absolutely stunning. Let's go ahead and slice this piece, and we'll let this one rouge out so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. We'll leave that there. All right. Now I told you this thing was gonna make its own sauce, and we like to call this board sauce. And you might see it start to gather around the edges here. This little glaze of deliciousness on our cutting board. Don't let that go to waste. And there's seasoning in there too. So this whole bit right here has never seen smoke, sear, or seasoning. What a great opportunity to impart more flavor by tossing it in our board sauce. So as we toss, we're amplifying the flavor of this gorgeous flank steak with what's already been given to us. I like to pilot some days on kind of a little windy day like this. It's gonna keep everything nice and warm. And like I said, it's gonna rouge up. Look at that beautiful medium rare. I don't wanna draw this out. Let's give it a taste. Dip, dip, boom. And that's why flank steak's my favorite. That's a whole lot of flavor in a whole little bit of time. All right, simple things done perfectly win every time. And technique, right? Let's go over it one more time. Good piece of meat, score it, sear it at high heat, dry baste, let it rest, slice it across the grain, toss it in the board sauce. That is a technique that's gonna win every time, and not just for flank steak, okay? Folks, if you enjoyed these little tips and techniques, don't forget to do all the things. Subscribe, like, leave us a comment. Let us know how you like to do your flank steak. Love to hear about it, read about it. And as always, from our backyard to yours, cheers and happy grilling.